Getting started shortly. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining the National World War II Museum's Veterans Day Commemoration Ceremony. We are about to begin the program, so please take your seat.
Wow, what a view. What a view, what a great day. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Pete Crane, and I have the privilege to be the Vice President of Education and Access here at the National World War II Museum. And it's my pleasure to welcome you to today's commemoration of Veterans Day, jointly hosted with the City of New Orleans and the Mayor's Military Advisory Committee. Today also marks a significant occasion, the opening of the National World War II Museum's newest special exhibit, Fighting for the Right to Fight, African American Experiences in World War II. This exhibit is presented in honor of Corporal Warren J. Donald, Sr., by the Arnold Donald Family, with additional support from Dr. Bobby and Mrs. Lori Kent Savoie and Timber and Peggy Floyd. Thanks to them for their sponsorship of this exhibit. So to begin today's program, please stand as the color guard from the Louisiana Army National Guard presents our nation's colors and the victory bells perform the national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming. And the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free?
Thank you. Please be seated. Now, please join me in welcoming the chairwoman of the National World War II Museum's Board of Trustees to the stage, Suzanne Medier.
Good morning. Those of you who have been to our programs before know that we have a time-honored tradition of beginning with recognition of any World War II veterans any home front workers, and any Holocaust survivors who are in attendance. And we are so pleased today to have with us 10 World War II veterans who I am very privileged to be able to introduce to you. So let me begin with those introductions, and it starts with Roy Caldwell, and I'd ask if you would please rise or wave from your seat if you can when we call your name. Roy Caldwell, U.S. Army. U.S. Army, served in the European theater as a combat medic in an all-black Buffalo Soldier Division. Thank you for being here. Yes. Henry Jackson, U.S. Marine Corps, served in the Pacific Theater as a machine gunner with the Montfort Point Marines. Right up here. Jesse J. McGee, U.S. Army, served with Company A, 1st Battalion of the 364th Infantry Regiment, which was stationed at Camp Van Dorn, Mississippi, before being deployed to the Aleutian Islands. James Mosley, U.S. Navy, served as a boat pharmacist in the Pacific Theater during World War II. But that's not all. He later served in the U.S. Army and the U.S. Army Air Corps and fought in Vietnam. Leo Pretorius Jr., U.S. Navy, served as a radio operator and gunner on the Grumman TBF Avenger torpedo bomber, just like the one hanging over our heads. Calvin Shiner, U.S. Army, served in the European Theater with Company B of the 1328th Engineer Construction Battalion. Benny Robichaux, U.S. Army, World War II veteran. Lawrence Winier, U.S. Navy, served as an officer's attendant aboard the USS Guadalupe. Elgin Jenny, U.S. Army Air Corps. Edward Tresh, U.S. Merchant Marine. I just don't know how to tell you how appreciative we are to all of you for your service and for making the journey here to New Orleans for this very special occasion. And thanks also go to the Gary Sinise Foundation and American Airlines for sponsoring their travel to the museum today. It is our yes. It is our honor to pay tribute to you each and every day by what we do here at the museum, and we thank you for everything that you've done. I'd also like to recognize Rear Admiral David Barata, commander of the 8th Coast Guard District. I'm not sure where he is. Major General Justin Swanson, commander of the 377th Theater Sustainment Command, who I see. There we go. And then to all other veterans and active duty military who are in attendance today, please stand. Let us give you all a big round of applause. Thank you all for your service. I'd also like to give a special welcome to some local leaders that are in attendance, starting with our mayor, Mayor LaToya Cantrell, who I just saw. There we go, Mayor Cantrell. We have Congressman Troy Carter and his wife, Major General Andrée Carter. Representative Alonzo Knox. Somewhere. And then collectively, our city council members, Joe Giarrusso, Eugene Green, Leslie Harris, Freddie King, J.P. Morrell, and Oliver Thomas. Big round of applause. The museum is really privileged to have such a large group of supporters and donors to keep our mission moving forward and to keep this museum the way that it is and improving every day and doing more and more. And we want to thank all of our supporters and our partners. I know we have a number of members of the Patriot Circle and charter members, education donors, and capital donors with us, and we really appreciate all of you. Thank you for your support and for joining us today. Now, to my right, you may have noticed a beautiful piece of artwork. Every year, we ask our members to contribute in some way to the creation of a work of art that could be very symbolic on this particular day, Veterans Day. This year, we had over 7,100 members participate by mailing back to us dog tags that we had sent to them. Each dog tag represents a veteran, and this display is a collective expression of our admiration for all of those who safeguarded the principles that are exhibited or illustrated through this visual of the flag, the stars and stripes of our flag. And so thank you to each and every member who has participated in this in the past, and certainly to those who participated this year. It's a wonderful collective exercise and gets everyone involved, and we have this to show you, and please come up afterwards if you haven't seen it before and take a look. It's a beautiful rendition. As many of you may know, here in New Orleans, the root of military service runs very deep. We're grateful to the City of New Orleans and to the Mayor's Military Advisory Committee for supporting our region's military installations and for their continued recognition of service through events like this one. And so I am pleased to introduce to you someone who has been a member of our community for many years and is quite distinguished, retired Major General David Mize, Chairman of the Mayor's Military Advisory Committee. Major General Mize graduated from the U.S. Naval Academy at Annapolis in the class of 1969 and had an active duty career for 34 years. He previously served as the commander of the Marine Forces Reserve here in New Orleans, and he was the commanding general of the Marine Corps base Camp Lejeune when it won the award as the Corps' best base during his tenure in 2002. His personal decorations include the Defense Distinguished Service Medal, the Distinguished Service Medal, the Legion of Merit, the Bronze Star, 2 Navy Commendation Medals, and the Combat Action Ribbon. So please join me in welcoming Major General David Mize to the stage.
Thank you, Suzanne. Well, it's great to see this wonderful crowd here today. And on behalf of the Mayor's Military Advisory Committee, I'd like to extend my welcome to all of you who are celebrating Veterans Day with us at this wonderful event that's co-hosted by the city and the National World War II Museum. I also wanted to send greetings to the large audience that I cannot see, those of you who are streaming our event on the museum's social media sites. It's exciting to know that we are now able to extend our reach and share our events with a lot more supporters around the region and even the country. I also want to give our sincerest thanks to the National World War II Museum for continuing to be the best possible partner for veterans and military support groups. It remains hard to imagine a better venue to celebrate Veterans Day than this magnificent hall that is so successfully inspires our reverence for our World War II veterans. So once more, our great appreciation goes out to Museum CEO Stephen Watson, Vice President Pete Crane, and Dr. Maggie Hartley and the museum staff who make all of this magic happen. Today, we're adding a significant new piece to our Veterans Day celebration by inaugurating an annual Veteran of the Year award. And there'll be much more about this later in our program. This morning, we have a very large contingent of distinguished guests at our ceremony. I too want to recognize and express our thanks for the participation of this notable group of leaders. With us, we have Congressman Carter, Major General Carter, Major General Swanson, Mayor Cantrell, state representatives, almost every senior leader of the city administration, and most of our city council members. We are honored by your attendance and so appreciate that you have come out to recognize all our veterans in general and our Veteran of the Year in particular. I now have the privilege of introducing our next distinguished speaker, the Mayor of New Orleans, LaToya Cantrell. The mayor has several veterans in her family, note the pen that she's wearing today, and she understands the sacrifices that veterans have made and the pride that they have received for their service. Since she has been mayor of New Orleans, she has proudly participated in almost all of our Veterans Day and Armed Forces Day ceremonies. So we really appreciate all the time she takes to honor those in military service. This sends a great signal to the veterans and the military in our region about what your great partner she and the city of New Orleans are. We thank her for leadership of the city and her continuing support of our veterans. I turn the podium over to the Honorable LaToya Cantrell, Mayor of New Orleans.
Good morning. Good morning. I don't know about you, but it is the perfect morning and the perfect day to exhibit the pride that we have for our country, the United States of America. Give it up. Give it up. And it's the perfect day because it really allows us to reflect on those, our veterans, who have paved the way for us to be here. Because one thing about it, freedom, it's not free. And sometimes the cost of peace is war. And it takes those who understand what courage is, understands the mission, who's not afraid, that stands up and continues to stand, and even given the greatest sacrifice. So on behalf of the city of New Orleans, I say thank you all not only for being here, but thank you for understanding that the United States of America has been in good hands and will continue to be in good hands because we represent the tapestry of our flag. And it's we who will continue to demonstrate that we are stronger together. So on this Veterans Day, thank you to all of our veterans at every era that you've served. None of us could continue to stand without you. And you give us the hope to continue to stand and be the example by taking the actions necessary so that we can continue to be free. So, didn't even go on my notes, forgive me. Again, I don't know about you, but it's inspiring. And we should understand that, and I believe that we do. But it's again, we're the light today that's shining all around the United States of America. And in the city of New Orleans, understand, we are world class. So wherever we show up, the world is watching. And absolutely, when America is together and stronger, everyone is better for it. So Congressman, thank you so much for your leadership. Oh my goodness, Major General Carter, who's made history. You're going to hear from her. Thank you so much. General Mize, I cannot think of a better chairman to lead the Mayor's Military Advisory Committee. It's a testament to your leadership because I'm not the first mayor that you served under. Amen to that. We have to keep good leadership going. Continuity in leadership, it matters. So it's not just about today. It has to always, always be about tomorrow. But we can only see it brighter when we understand how and who have paid the ultimate sacrifice for us to be here. Now, let me get to my notes. As I mentioned, freedom isn't free. General Mize mentioned as well that I come from a family that has served collectively over 175 years of service. I understand what it means. I understand what it means. I'm also especially grateful for all the veterans who continue to serve in leadership roles in this community, really second to none. In so many different capacities, our veterans continue to serve. And as the mayor of the city of New Orleans, I have been privileged and quite frankly honored to serve alongside of many in my administration. And one who will be honored here this morning. Mr. Joe Threat, you're gonna hear from Joe, you're gonna hear more about him, but he continues to answer the call to service and do the job and do it right. He said, Mayor, I'm with you from beginning to end and leading every single day. Thank you, Joe. And because of Joe and what he brings to the city of New Orleans, we have a collaborative and a diverse group of leaders who have joined us in celebrating Veterans Day this morning because they understand what Joe means to this city and what he gives. So thank you to my CAO, Gilbert Montano. I can go on and on. Thank you to members of my public safety team. I can go on. And even in service, I see you, we see you, and thank you for showing up every day. Thank you to members of the New Orleans City Council. Again, stronger together. Always having hope, I do, and always staying focused on tomorrow. But let me tell you a little bit about Joe. Joe answered the call to service early in his life. He enlisted in the United States Marine Corps after graduating high school. After basic training in San Diego, Joe was ordered to North Carolina and then ordered to the Republic of Vietnam. Joe would go on to have 26 years of distinguished service to the United States Marine Corps. But just like his Marine service, Joe knows the mission. He comes prepared, he knows how to improvise, he knows how to adapt, and he knows how to overcome challenges. And I know this because we've gone through many of them together. even in the short period of time of 6 years. And we're counting 400 and about 20 more days of service in this capacity, leading the way and paving the way also for continuity and leadership, leaving it better than how you found. So that's what I know that you all collectively bring, not only to this place, the World War II Museum. The city of New Orleans is just so privileged to have her housed in our city, which brings over 1 million plus to this city every single year just to get a little taste of remembrance, just to get a little bit of taste of hope, just to get a little bit of taste, of course, of the city of New Orleans, but also understanding that light, bright, shine, or shines bright, giving us again a real understanding that we are stronger together. So with all that I've said, I just want you to know that the city of New Orleans, we understand what it means to be free. And we will never stop leaning in because we understand that we are part of it, because freedom isn't free. But in the midst of all challenges, we stand tall. And we know, again, that we are better together. So the way is in our front. God bless the city of New Orleans, the state of Louisiana, but God bless the United States of America.
Well, that got me charged up. I don't know about you. Now it's my distinct pleasure to introduce Major General Andrée Carter. Major General Carter is the commanding general of the U.S. Army Civil Affairs and Psychological Operations Command, Airborne, HUA, right? Located at Fort Liberty, North Carolina. This assignment is the latest in a nearly 30-year career that includes deployments to the Balkans as part of Operation Joint Endeavor, company commands in both Iraq and Afghanistan, and positions of ever-increasing responsibility. Major General Carter earned her commission in the Quartermaster Corps through the Wofford College ROTC program in 1995. Oh, that hurts. These young generals these days, it's amazing. I'm not getting older, the generals are just getting younger, right? Her awards include the Legion of Merit with the Oak Leaf Cluster, that means 2, and the Bronze Star with an Oak Leaf Cluster, also 2. These are in addition to numerous other medals and campaign ribbons. She is married to Congressman Troy Carter and has 2 grown bonus sons, Troy II and Joshua. And she lives right here in New Orleans. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Major General Andrée Carter.
Ladies and gentlemen, honored guests, and most importantly, our esteemed veterans. It is a profound honor to be here with you today in this sacred space dedicated to African American soldiers of World War II on this Veterans Day at the National World War II Museum. We gather to honor an extraordinary legacy, those who served and sacrificed not only for victory abroad, but also for equality and justice at home. They were, as our theme so aptly captures, fighting for the right to fight. World War II was a pivotal chapter in our nation's history, but within it lies another story, one of struggle and resilience that must never be forgotten. For African Americans, the war represented a dual battle, one against tyranny overseas, and another against racism and discrimination at home. These men and women served our country with valor, even as they denied they were denied the freedoms they defended. Their sacrifices were not just for the liberation of Europe or the defense of the Pacific. They were sacrifices made for vision of America where freedom, equality, and justice truly belong to all. The Double V campaign, victory abroad and victory at home, became a rallying cry for African Americans during World War II. It was more than a slogan. It was a powerful declaration of defiance and dignity. The Double V campaign asserted that African Americans who risked their lives for democracy should not have to return to a society that denied them equal rights. This campaign was as much a fight for recognition, respect, and humanity as it was a battle against fascism and tyranny. Nearly 1 million African Americans served in World War II, spanning every theater of the conflict, from the beaches of Normandy to the deserts of North Africa. They were members of the Tuskegee Airmen, the 92nd Infantry Division, and the Red Ball Express, among many others. They served under segregated conditions and endured the harsh realities of discrimination, even in the face of enemy fire. But through their grit, their courage, and determination, they forge a legacy that endures. Let us recall the courage of the Tuskegee Airmen, who shattered stereotypes and flew with unparalleled skill. Despite constant prejudice, they went on to earn a distinguished combat record. Let us remember the Buffalo Soldiers of the 92nd Infantry Division, who fought courageously in Italy, and the Red Ball Express drivers, who kept crucial supply lines moving across Europe. These men and women who persevered under unimaginable adversity represented the best of America. They were patriots. They were pioneers who believed in the vision of equality that America had yet to fully realize. As a woman of color in the military, I feel the weight of their legacy deeply. When I was first commissioned as a second lieutenant in 1995, I knew that my path has made possible by those who became before me. Today, as the first woman of color to command the United States Army Civil Affairs and Psychological Operations Command Airborne, I honor them by continuing to break barriers. Their courage and perseverance have paved the way for generations of soldiers like me. The contributions of African Americans to our armed services did not end with World War II. They continue to this day. Today, African American men and women serve at every level, in every branch, and around the globe. They carry forward the spirit of the Double V campaign, believing that victory is not complete until justice and equality are achieved at home. But remembrance is not enough. The Double V campaign challenged America to live up to its ideals. It challenged us to ensure that those who serve with honor, who return to a nation that honored them. Today, that challenge remains, and it is our duty to tell their stories, to teach future generations about the contributions and sacrifices of African American soldiers. We must weave these stories into the fabric of our nation's history so that no child grows up without understanding the role of African Americans that played and continue to play in defending our freedoms. Let us pledge to carry their legacy. Let us honor their sacrifices by striving for an America where the ideals they fought for, freedom, equality, and justice, are not just words, but a lived reality for all. As we honor the past, we look to the future. To the young and men and women who are inspired by the legacy of those who came before them, their journey may not be easy, but it is necessary, and it is our duty to support them. And now, I ask each of you to stand with me, to honor these brave soldiers, to recognize their valor, and to remember their sacrifice. Stand for the soldiers who fought 2 battles, one against tyranny abroad, one against injustice at home. Stand for those who served despite a society that failed to recognize their worth, and for those who serve today, carrying forward the legacy of courage, resilience, and unwavering faith in the promise of America. Let us stand as one nation, united in gratitude, respect, and resolve. Let us honor our veterans, our history, and our shared commitment to justice today in the spirit of the Double V campaign. Let's make it right. And so, as we stand here together, honoring those who fought for freedom abroad and equality at home, let us carry their legacy forward. Let us commit to a future that lives up to their future and their vision, a future worthy of their sacrifice. God bless all of our veterans. To my brothers and sisters in arms currently serving, and God bless the United States of America. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
It's now time to begin our recognition of the Veteran of the Year. Let me talk for just a minute about the award itself. And I think the mayor has set me up very well for this. I appreciate that, Madam. On Veterans Day, probably the conventional wisdom of most people is that they are thanking and paying tribute for what the veteran individual did while they were on active duty in the military. The actual reality, I think, is, and should be, that we are appreciating veterans for their totality of their contributions to our country. During their time on active duty, service people get instilled with many values and traits, among them self-discipline, mission accomplishment, teamwork, initiative, and a love of country. In their challenging military service, through their hard work and sacrifice, most pick up a small piece of ownership in the country that they have been serving to protect. So when veterans leave active service, whether it's after 4 years or 40 years, they carry the values and work ethic they have learned in the service into their lives and actions in their communities. In the Marine Corps, one of our commandants put it very succinctly when he said that the 3 macro missions of the Marine Corps were to make Marines, win battles, and turn back great citizens to society. The vast majority of our veterans are great citizens who give contributions to their communities beyond what most average citizens do. So we would like to highlight these significant and continuing contributions that veterans make to their country and their communities. We will single out each year a veteran who has made special contributions to his country, both during their time on active duty and after military service out in his or her community. But remember, this individual tribute is mainly to highlight the rest of the iceberg beneath the surface that may be hard to see or appreciate. Our many veterans making very significant and continuing contributions to their country after military service. The initial winner of our Veteran of the Year Award is Chief Warrant Officer retired Joe Thread, and I think he is a perfect candidate to set the standards for this award. Joe Thread has a distinguished military career, started a successful small business, was a lead FEMA administrator in the years after Hurricane Katrina here, and is currently the city infrastructure czar, where he has been brought in to make sure that the pot of $3.5 billion of available infrastructure money for the city is spent quickly and wisely. Quite a responsibility. I had the pleasure of having Joe work for me at the National Marine Corps Reserve Headquarters here in New Orleans over 20 years ago, so I know firsthand the traits that make him so successful. He has a very caring and engaging personality and has a unique talent to get along with all people. He can bring together and successfully mediate with people on opposite sides of even the most contentious matters. We have gathered some great background information on Chief Warrant Officer Thread, or on just Joe as most people know him locally. The wonderful Museum Media Center has turned this into an entertaining mini bio of Mr. Thread. I think you will enjoy the video, and it will validate that we have made a great selection for this award. Please play the video.
Joe Thread was born in Kansas City, Missouri, raised by his mother and stepfather, a Buffalo soldier with the U.S. Army 10th Cavalry, along with 3 siblings. And his lifetime of service began at a very young age. In 1966, Joe was one of 5 African-American boys to attend an all-white college prep high school as part of a federal integration program. Joe made a name for himself, becoming a star athlete in football and track. But in the late 1960s, the Vietnam War was raging, and Joe's life would take another turn. He enlisted in the Marine Corps and joined the 2nd Air Naval Gunfire Liaison Company as a forward observer, calling in air, artillery, and naval gunfire support for Allied units. During the war, Private First Class Thread was assigned to various units, including both the South Korean and Vietnamese Marine Corps, as well as Vietnamese Army units. Joe Thread saw heavy action in Vietnam, and in 1970, he was injured in combat.
I remember the time we were pinned down. I received a sniper round to my hand in Vietnam. I was medevaced out of there.
After the Vietnam War, Joe left the Marines, but he missed the discipline, camaraderie, and can-do spirit of the Corps. He re-enlisted in 1981. Joe was meritoriously promoted to the ranks of corporal and sergeant and was Marine of the Year in the 3rd Marine Division in Okinawa, Japan. In 1986, Joe became a nuclear, biological, and chemical warfare officer. In 1990, he spent 10 months in Saudi Arabia and Kuwait during Operations Desert Shield and Desert Storm, liberating Kuwait from Saddam Hussein. Joe Thread was also part of Operation Provide Hope in Somalia and helped defeat a coup in the Philippines. His last tour of active duty was here in New Orleans at the Marine Corps Reserve Headquarters, helping develop innovative programs across all Marine Reserve units. In 2005, Hurricane Katrina struck New Orleans. Joe's home was destroyed, along with thousands of his fellow citizens. But But Joe did what Marines have done since their founding. He marched right back into battle, leading the fight as Executive Director of the FEMA Louisiana Recovery Office for 3 crucial years in the state of Louisiana's recovery.
When you think about recovery from still the most devastating disaster, one of the most costliest in U.S. history, Hurricane Katrina, that was enough. And that engagement that happened because of Joe and his leadership. Because he cares so much about this community and loves it, and he just bleeds service. And I know he learned that from his time as a Marine.
After serving at FEMA, Joe returned to the private sector and started his own firm, Threat Defense, where he supported Marine Corps and Army clients. But duty would call again to take on one of the most challenging roles of his career as Deputy Chief Administrative Officer for Infrastructure for the City of New Orleans. Joe is overseeing the execution of a $3.5 billion project of improvements and leading the charge for New Orleans to welcome the Super Bowl.
After my stint of 6 years being away from FEMA and running my own company, I just had a urge to finish the work that I'd started.
Joe is part of a team, and I think that is an important aspect. And Joe understands the value and the importance of teamwork. Does not seek credit, does not ask for recognition, and I think that's an important part of his leadership ability. So he is integral in the Super Bowl planning and management, in that of coordination, but also most importantly from my perspective, execution.
For his lifetime of service and his commitment to the city of New Orleans, we honor Joe Threat as 2024's Veteran of the Year.
Please be seated. Mayor Cantrell and Joe, would you join me on the stage? We're going to give Joe the chance to say a few words to this crowd, which I just told him I think this is the biggest Veterans Day crowd we've ever had, and that certainly part of that's a great tribute to Joe. And thank you all for being here.
Oh, thank you so much, everyone, for coming to be here with me. Firstly, I'd like to thank God, because if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be standing here with you today. Thanks to the World War II D-Day Museum for this honor. Major General Mize, I appreciate your support over the years we've been together. Thanks to Mayor Cantrell, Chief Warren, the CEO, Montano, for giving me the opportunity to lead. Thanks for all the state reps, congressional, city council members, and other dignitaries for coming today. Thanks to my family members who I've lost over the years, who would be proud to see me standing here before you. To my mother, my brothers, my sons, and others. Thanks to my family and friends gathered, Belinda, my wife, who held down the fort all those years I was deployed and took care of the family. My son, Joe Jr., and his wife, LaShonda, who came here from Kansas City. My daughter, Leah, and her family, who's here today. And my other daughters, Tasha and Joetta, and my 14 grandchildren. I'd like to recognize my FEMA staff, who basically provided a building block for the city's recovery after Hurricane Katrina Katrina, and other storms. Andrea Davis, who's my public affairs officer, Albert, Ronnie, and others, and my senior advisor, who I saw today, John Conley, who really was the instrument behind putting together the single settlement to rebuild 83 schools in New Orleans after the storm took out 123. Thanks to my city staff who support me every day to get things done, my chief of staff, Lenitra Hassan, and Courtney Story, and my executive assistants, Kenya Clay and Jocelyn Christopher. Gunnery Sergeant Sarah J. Teskey, I saw you here with your boys. You supported me many years over our tour duty in the Marine Corps. Today we honor veterans and friends, both past and present. We all have once been far away from home in a miserable and dangerous environment. It's good to see you all here today. Veterans, please enjoy your free meals in the city. We got a lot of them. I wanted to say happy birthday to United States Navy and happy birthday, Marines, for 249 years of service. Veterans Day is a special day for me and always will be. I want to honor all those veterans that are here today and those who have paid the ultimate sacrifice. Simplify.
Congratulations, Joe, for this well-deserved and important honor. We have yet another VVIP that has joined us today. I'd like to recognize Lincoln Brennan, a two-war U.S. Navy veteran who fought in the Pacific in World War II and in the Korean War. And now I would like to welcome Stephen Watson, President and CEO of the National World War II Museum.
Wow. Well, good morning, everyone, and thank you all for being here. I'm just going to go off script here for just a moment. You know, I've had the privilege of being a part of this amazing institution for 22 plus years, and I say it's a privilege to walk through these doors every single day and be part of such an important and noble mission. And boy, don't you feel it in this room this morning to be around these amazing World War II veterans, to be in the presence of Mr. Threat, and what a great example of selfless leadership and a life well lived. So congratulations and thank you all for all that you have done. And of course, thank you, Mayor Cantrell, the City of New Orleans, the Mayor's Military Advisory Committee for your continued partnership for this important ceremony, 24 years strong since this museum opened as the National D-Day Museum over 24 years ago. And I want to acknowledge someone else who is incredibly important to all of us being here today, and that is our founding president and CEO, Nick Mueller. Thank you, Nick, for being here today. And it's fitting to recognize Nick on Veterans Day because the idea of the National D-Day Museum began with veterans. It began with telling their stories, honoring the men and women who served in Normandy on D-Day. And Nick, we are here today in this wonderful museum because of your belief in those stories, your perseverance, your determination to never give up. And we owe you a debt of gratitude for all of your work, sir. So thank you. So as you can imagine, every day, and especially on Veterans Day, the museum honors the men and women who have served in our country and secured the freedoms that we enjoy today. You can see this in every corner of this museum through our exhibits that incorporate these personal stories of veterans that emphasize the courage, the patriotism, the perseverance, the sacrifice, all of those stories that are emblematic of those who put on our nation's uniform. So I want to extend my personal thanks to all of you who have worn a uniform, those of you that continue to serve, and I think importantly also your families for the sacrifices that they make and the support that they provide to you. So please give yourself another round of applause for all that you've done. And as you've heard today, this Veterans Day marks the opening of our special exhibit, Fighting for the Right to Fight, African American Experiences in World War II, which explores the significant role Black service members and homefront workers played in securing Allied victory during World War II. Telling this important story would not have been possible without strong partners, and we're incredibly grateful for the generosity of the exhibit's presenting sponsor, the Arnold Donald Family, in honor of Corporal Warren J. Donald, Sr. Corporal Donald served in the 910th Air Base Security Battalion in the U.S. Army Air Forces during World War II. His son, Arnold Donald, is a museum trustee and co-convener of the Fighting for the Right to Fight Host Committee. We are thankful for Arnold's support and his active involvement in bringing this exhibit back to New Orleans before it tours the country. And with that, I would like to invite Arnold to the stage to make a few remarks.
So, good morning, everyone. First and foremost, I really want to give a heartfelt and most sincere thank you to the generations of service members here with us today. They fought to expand and preserve our freedoms. Thank you for your service. And congratulations again, Joe. Thank you. But I also want to thank Stephen, not only for the kind introduction, Stephen, but also for your stellar leadership in leading the important work of the World War II Museum. Thank you. Thanks to Pete and Lamont and the entire staff. Thanks to you, Suzanne, and the full board, which I have the privilege of serving on, for having the commitment and the vision to tell the whole story of American participation in World War II, including what we are honoring through Fighting for the Right to Fight exhibit, the role of Black Americans. And of course, a very special thank you to all the other donors who made this exhibit possible, and especially to Bobby and Laurie Savoie. One of those other donors is also a dear friend of mine who up to this point contributed anonymously, but he gave me permission today to mention him. It's David Stewart of St. Louis, Missouri, founder and chairman of Worldwide Technology, a well over $20 billion annually revenue company, the largest African-American owned business in the United States. And David, along with his wife, are incredibly and selflessly generous in philanthropy and chose to match our contributions for this exhibit. So I want to thank David and Thelma. Now, the reason I chose to underwrite this exhibit is, of course, to honor those who served, like my dad. My grandfather, my dad's dad, served in World War I in France. My father started his service in Algeria in World War II, moving through North Africa and into southern Italy. He was ultimately stationed in Italy with the Tuskegee Airmen. For me, this is very personal. It's a tribute to my father, but it's also a tribute to everyone who served, all the simple soldiers who came back to simple lives to build families and try to make our nation a better place. But it's also about educating future generations. It's not just about honoring those who came before us, but also about ensuring that we learn from the past, about overcoming injustices and striving for a greater good, about ensuring freedoms and righting wrongs, and most importantly, avoiding repeating the mistakes of history. Our goal at the museum is to engage more people with the complete World War II story, to celebrate that great generation, and to instill a visceral, real understanding of the sacrifices made during war. That understanding is critical because while we honor those heroes, and indeed they are most definitely heroes, war should always be the last resort. While there are heroes in war, those very heroes will tell you there is nothing heroic about war itself. Together, we can take these lessons and we can work to make the world a better place for everyone. And I'd like to ask my wife, Hazel, to stand, please. Hazel leads all of our philanthropic activities. Please stand, Hazel. And I'd like to ask for all the Donald family members here today to stand. Stand up, guys. I have my sister Marie, my sister Yvonne, nephews and nieces. Everybody, today, this Veterans Day, our family honors our patriarch, Corporal Warren J. Donald, but also all those that served, for they all sacrificed, suffered, and endured to give us the opportunity to live a better life and hopefully to make the world a better place. Thank you, everybody, and God bless the United States of America.
Arnold, thank you for those moving words, and again, we are deeply grateful to you and your family for leading the way with this exhibit. We're also thankful, as Arnold said, for the generosity of our supporting sponsors, Dr. Bobby Savoie and Laurie Kent Savoie. Thank you, Bobby and Laurie, for your support. Thank you. And also our dear friends, Timber and Peggy Floyd. And Peggy, thank you for being here today as well. So I have to close by doing two important things. And first is to thank the many people that it took to bring this exhibit to life. And we are just so fortunate here at the museum to have many wonderful partners that have been with us on this journey. And I want to start by recognizing our guest curator, Dr. Kruaski-Salter, and our museum curator, Corey Graff. I can promise you there has been hundreds of hours of meetings and deliberations over the last couple of years to get to this magnificent exhibit that you all have created. So thank you both, gentlemen, for your leadership. I'd also like to thank the other curators, the partners, the historians who helped tell this story, our Associate Vice President of Collections and Exhibits, Aaron Clancy, and the members of our Fighting for the Right to Fight Historical Advisory Committee, Dr. John Morrow, who has been a part of our museum for 20 years, Dr. Marcus Cox, Gregory Cook, Dr. Tracy Parker, and Dr. Adrian Lewis. Please give them a round of applause for their contributions too. Thank you. And I would also like to recognize and thank members of the Fighting for the Right to Fight Host Committee for helping to raise awareness throughout the community. I would say you did a good job host community. What a wonderful turnout today. And I want to especially thank Henry Coxum, who's over here, and Arnold for being the co-conveners of the host committee. Thank you both, gentlemen. So you just heard from Major General Carter some very eloquent and moving remarks about the service of African Americans during World War II. And I'm certainly not going to repeat all of those words, but I do want to have a final word and a final opportunity to thank these men that are here with us today. I think it's important to start with saying that African Americans have fought for America since before it was a country, and long before they were granted rights as US citizens. When we were thrust into World War II, more than 1.2 million African American men and women served in all branches of the armed forces. As you heard, in their fight for double victory against fascism abroad and racism at home, African Americans played a significant role in securing Allied victory. And all too often, those contributions were not acknowledged or taught as the essential American history they represent. So as America's National World War II Museum, it's incumbent upon us to ensure that these individuals and their stories are recognized today and in the future. It truly is a privilege to celebrate the service of all veterans on this day. But I want to end by giving special recognition to some guests of honor who Suzanne introduced earlier and whose service and life experiences we honor with today's special exhibit opening. Gentlemen, thank you for being here today. Thank you for ensuring that your wartime contributions and experiences and those of other African American veterans are never forgotten. Thank you for winning and persevering. It's appreciated, and we hope you can feel the love in this room today for the sacrifices and the contributions you have made to our country. So ladies and gentlemen, let's give all these veterans one more much-deserved round of applause.
Thank you, Stephen. As Stephen said, please make sure to visit the Fighting for the Right to Fight exhibit today in the Senator John Alario Gallery, or any time before its local run here ends in July of 2025. If you aren't able to see it in New Orleans, and I'm looking at the cameras online today, right now, it'll be coming to a city near you as soon as it travels across the country for the next few years. As we conclude today's program, I'd like to thank our ceremony participants and our exhibit sponsors, and once again congratulate Joe Threat again on his MMAC Veteran of the Year Award. Congratulations, Joe. So the exhibit comes with a lot of programming during its run here. So please be sure to stay tuned to our website for upcoming events, including this Saturday's Family and Military Appreciation Block Party and opening reception for Fighting for the Right to Fight, featuring a discussion with the exhibit's curators. Thank you for joining us today, and we'll see you again here next time at the National World War II Museum.